India claims it's hit a training camp belonging to a Kashmir-based terror group, killing 300 fighters. The Indian Foreign Secretary says the airstrike targeted the Jaish-e-Mohammed group, which was responsible for the deaths of at least 40 police officers earlier this month. Now, the strikes are the first across the de facto border since a war between the two countries broke out back in 1971. Pakistan says this week's incursion was, quote, a grave aggression by India and a violation of the line of control. In a marked contrast to India's claims, the Pakistani military tweeted that no infrastructure was hit and no casualties reported. The Pakistani foreign minister says the country will respond.
India has committed uncalled for aggression, to which Pakistan shall respond at the time and place of its choosing.
Well, live now to Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, Professor and Dean at the Jindal School of International Affairs in New Delhi. Welcome. Why do India and Pakistan have such widely different accounts of what happened in Tuesday's airstrike?
Pakistan is going to deny that India succeeded militarily, because that would be a huge blow to their prestige, especially of the military establishment. So they, in fact, they denied that we succeeded in 2016 as well, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi ordered a land-based surgical strike or special operations mission inside Pakistani territory. On both cases, the Air Force today and the Army in 2016, we made a point that terrorism will not go unanswered and that it has to bear a cost for sponsoring terrorism. So I think for the Pakistanis, they will be in denial, and that's why we are going to see these contrasting accounts. Because even if you remember, when the US Navy SEALs did the operation to kill Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, they first denied that they had any hand at all and that they were not complicit and that they were unaware and so on. So this is an old problem with the Pakistani state apparatus, where first of all they have a culture of jihad which they sponsor for strategic reasons against Afghanistan, against Iran, against India, against all its neighboring countries. And secondly, they want plausible denial to say that, listen, there are no terror camps at all in our country. So India hit terror camps both in 2016, what we call surgical strikes 1, and now with the Air Force in surgical strikes 2 inside Pakistani territory. So for them, it's about convincing their public that everything is all right, and
the Indians utterances, though, Sreeram, there have been utterances that India has a general election in late spring. Is there any kind of substance that the tensions being exploited somewhat, the numbers, we're talking about 300 deaths from New Delhi, that's what they're saying, exploited in some way for votes?
I don't think so, because, India is a democracy with, general elections and state elections, and almost every 3 or 4 months there's some election coming up. This is, I think, a larger strategic threat that we are responding to based, on ground-based intelligence, actionable intelligence that we have about this terror infrastructure. I mean, some of these groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, these are linked to Al-Qaeda and in some cases even to ISIS types of, Salafist extremism. And they have been posing this threat to a moderate secular country like India for a long time. So I think Narendra Modi is responding to it. It will be a coincidence if it helps him for the elections, but I don't think that's so much of a problem, because every few months we have something on the calendar as a democracy with so many states and a federal system.
So how far could this actually escalate, especially given that Pakistan, they're standing firm, their language is direct, they're threatening a surprise response, I believe, as well?
Well, no, I don't think they can do any conventional action against India because we are superior. Thanks to countries like Russia, which are close strategic partners, we have S-200 with Israel. Through Israel, we have the Barak 8, and these are very powerful anti-missile defense systems that we have. And we will soon get the S-400 from Russia, despite the American pressure. So that will be a game changer. So they cannot do any aerial attacks in India. The worst, they cannot, push their land army across the border, because we are quite vigilant. What they can do is use these so-called proxies or jihadists to slip them across the border and cause mayhem in Kashmir, which India controls, or in other parts of India like the Mumbai terrorist attacks on soft targets. And we have to be really vigilant with internal security in India. After doing this daring raid across the border, we came out unscathed. Not a single of our aircraft was downed by the Pakistani missile defense systems or the radar, and they could not do anything about it. So now they will be seething. They will want to prove that they can hit back. But I think the means they have is these jihadist groups, and that is the biggest worry for us, and we will have to be really alert.
Oh, Pakistan would say they have no direct links with jihadi groups, wouldn't they? Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, Professor and Dean of Jindal School of International Affairs, thank you for your time this hour.